Welcome to the heart of Fertilidad Integral. We are here to address some questions you've probably had about what happens to your eggs and embryos in the lab. What happens to your eggs after extraction? Embryology specialists will make the science happen. First, the embryologist will search for your eggs within the fluid. Once identified, the eggs will be placed in a special culture medium in a petri dish, which will be tagged with a radiofrequency identification that will track your eggs throughout their journey thanks to our eyewitness technology. After an incubation period of 1 to 2 hours, the embryology team will analyze and select the eggs and sperm from your donor or your partner for the next step, fertilization. This could happen in 2 ways. The first is in vitro fertilization, or IVF, where between 50,000 and 100,000 sperm are deposited around the egg for fertilization to occur without additional intervention. The second is intracytoplasmic sperm injection, or ICSI, where sperm is injected directly into each egg. In the lab, we will create the appropriate atmosphere to simulate what happens inside the fallopian tubes. This involves regulating temperature, oxygen, humidity, and the rest of the necessary elements for the embryos to develop. We will contact you on that day to inform you how many of your eggs have been fertilized and become embryos. The embryos will stay for another 5 days in our incubators until they become blastocysts. If you decide to undergo pre-implantation genetic testing, or PGT, this is the moment when we perform the biopsy. If you choose not to do PGT, we can proceed with the transfer right away, which involves placing 1 or 2 of the most viable embryos back into your uterus without freezing them first. The embryos that are not transferred, regardless of whether they had PGT testing or not, can be frozen for transfer when you are ready. Like your eggs at the beginning of the process, these embryos will be stored with a radiofrequency identification so we can track them at all times. In a nutshell, this takes place in our lab during the in vitro fertilization process. Each specialist is committed to helping you achieve your reproductive goals. If you need support or have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to our team. Fertilidad Integral.